running.
Alright, it's October, I want to say 17th or 18th, I don't know exactly. I'm not feeling too good. I've been sick for past week. I thought I'd do an update. It's kind of a mess right now. So, I've got this Mission motor radiator in. It's a dual core. I was going to use, I know I've said this in the past, a 3-row core, but that got all screwed up. So I've changed the turbo housing for the turbine, and it's given me enough room. I can put this 2-row core in, and I have enough space and clearance between it, the turbo and downpipe and the compressor housing and the radiator. And then I have enough room over here to add a fan, which I'm going to do to help keep the engine cool, which will be nice, because I'll have 3 fans then, because I was having an overheating issue, and hopefully this will take care of it for sure. I know I didn't have enough cooling capacity. I have changed this, I need to get a light. Okay. So I have changed, for some of those who've seen or heard of this on my Facebook page, I've changed the water inlet pipe. So now I have space and room from where the original pipe ran, which is between the turbo and this mount here. And that allowed me to have room to put this support bracket in here, because I don't want this manifold taking all the weight for it to hang. So I made a bracket, mounted it up. It just goes by the starter just enough, barely. I'm gonna have to change this charge pipe hot side. I'm not happy about it, but I gotta do it. I've been working with the throttle cable. I've got it situated. I just need to get it all mounted up and stuff. I have gone and changed all the vacuum hose for the wastegate and boost control solenoid from just hose barb and hose to AN fittings and stainless steel line. I have changed the injectors. I did have 1560cc injectors in from Fuel Injector Clinic. I have taken those out, and I have put in Injector Dynamics 1000 cc's in. Because I'm never going to touch all of 1650cc fuel on this engine. I won't. So, and plus my goals have changed. I have lessened the amount of horsepower I was going to try for. So, I also have taken the time and changed the serpentine belts from regular to a Gauge Blue Racing. I did figure out the running issue. I don't know if I've said this in a previous video or not, but it's the cam gears weren't on TDC 0, so I've got that figured out. It's running. It ran pretty good on it, but I haven't ran it since because I've been doing all this. What else have I done? What else? I've taken the pressure gauge, this oil pressure gauge that I use for the turbo inlet oil feed. I brought it away from the heat because that destroyed the other one, and I've replaced this other one here. So I've done that. What else have I done? Kind of hard to remember all that I've done because it's been since 2 months since I did a live stream. This is just going to be a recording. Battery using the charging system on this camera is no good anymore, so I had to get a battery charger, a wall mounted external charger. So sub box I've been working at. I've got it. Now I've just got to make the mount for the car and put this in. And that'll be pretty much it for the interior almost. I have picked up some tools to help me with some of the stuff recently. One being this chop saw. It's not that expensive, but it's a good one, and it'll last me a while. A long time, really. I've been making a... That's right. Back with the cooling, I've been making a custom hoses because these ports on this radiator are different. One's down there, and then the other one's right here. So, and then, of course, this one here is the top one. I'll probably put some wrap on it or something to help, because the manifold is for the exhaust is right here. So this one comes here and out, so it's kind of close, but I'll take care of that. Pretty much that's all I've really done so far. But today this evening, I plan to fix the routing of this hot side charge intercooler pipe, and then hopefully soon we'll fill it with coolant and then we can run it. But I've got one or two other things I got to do, and before I do that, and then we can start it back up, and it'll be running by the end of this year for sure. At least that's the goal and the plan. I put a new battery in because the other one died, and it wouldn't keep it charged because I had what was it? A parasitic draw. Basically, I had like an amp draw in the battery with the key off, and I put a relay in and fixed that. It's because of the gauges. I didn't like that, but I had to do it. So now when I turn the switches on for the gauge backlights, all the gauges will turn on. That's gotten rid of the draw. So, and I also got this battery tender on here, so it's been keeping the battery charged. I'm gonna stop here, and then I'll show you the progress as I go, because my throat's still irritated, so that's why I don't sound pretty normal. Or actually, I'll just put you on the tripod, and I'll get to it. Here. Back up. Let's see. Back up. Okay, let's get to it. I'm not very thrilled. Just want to be magical and make this thing. It's like, here. Voila! Oh, that's the other thing. I had the downpipe for the turbo. I have modified it. It used to have a 4-inch collector, and then it tapered down to 3-inch. Now it's just 3-inch out V-bend. The new housing is for the turbine housing. It's a 0.65 AR ratio and it's for this 68 millimeter turbine wheel, and it's not divided. I would like to have it divided, but it's not. It's just a regular housing. But I had to give up something just to be able to make it work, which is fine. Maybe someday in the future I'll probably get one made. But for right now, it'll do. Hope I can get this thing to pass emissions. That's the other thing. I'm going to screw with the EGR valve. I had made a line, then I just realized it's not going to work with the way the blow-off valve is situated. So I'm going to have to either rotate the blow-off valve or I'm going to have to use silicone hose, which I may end up doing because in all theory it's really not all that hot exhaust gas that goes through it, which I ain't too concerned about. And then I just put it on for emissions and then take it off. As long as the fueling of the vehicle is decently a little bit richer and cleaner, it won't produce as much NOx at cruise. That's the theory, at least. Or at least that's how it works. Clean it out, you create hotter temperatures in the combustion chamber and higher pressures in the combustion chamber usually tend to produce NOx. Those cramped. So if you run it a little bit richer, it gets rid of it, but you run the risk of running a higher CO and HC and potentially CO2. And which is okay. Because catalyst will take care of that. Okay, need this. I think these are going to be a 10 millimeter. Okay. Safety stand is on and down there. I'm going to have to get this flat, there will be enough room. So, here's what I'm dealing with. In here. So, this is the problem I'm having. This charge pipe is touching what is the down pipe. And it's kind of a tight fit. I've squeezed this pipe down to kind of form fit it. And it was going to work, and then it didn't really work out. Partially, I think it's because the down pipe was slightly off on the markings when it was welded up, but that's okay. I have enough room down here. I can probably run it when it's a little bit flatter underneath this cross member here. I don't like it because it's close to the ground, not very much protection, but I ain't got much of a choice. I just got to avoid these dips. So here's the setup I have. I don't know if anybody's seen this, but right up in here where these lines are is the oil cooler. In front of that is the intercooler. I have a fan here. I was going to use it as a pusher fan, or pull through and have it push through the radiator, but that wasn't working very well. I have another one up in here that's a pusher. And of course there goes my phone. Oh, I did take the time and put a drive shaft shop level 5 axle and hub kit in. That I did over sometime this past year. I know it was earlier sometime this year, but that's something else I did. This push rod on this slave cylinder is actually 5 millimeters longer. It's actually for the 4G63 trans, but it works just fine for what I'm doing because I didn't have enough travel for the new clutch in there, and that was one of my problems I was having. Clutch engagement from a dead stop in the first gear was a pain in the ass. That's been since taken care of. Most of you will probably remember there's the oil catch can in the left front fender well area just in front of the fender there. So that's easy access from an oil change. Just put a bucket over here or something to catch it. I have since put these crowd design engineering crowd 2 spirit bulbs in. I think I have like 5 in total in, and I have like a couple extras. Here's what I'm doing. So I'm gotta get this or this lower hose out of my way. Yep, there goes the flashlight. I've undone 3 clamps for this charge pipe. And I'm trying to get them off. These silicone joiners are being a bit of a pain. Wazoo. Okay, there's one. This next one's gonna be a bit of a... And I'm trying not to just ruin the fin on this radiator as I'm doing this. Because if you fold or damage the fins, it reduces the airflow through it. And I really don't want that. I really don't. I really have no desire to buy another one of these radiators. I really don't. So, I'm trying to do this as carefully as I possibly can. I'm just going to take that clamp out of there. So, and then I'm just going to hopefully pop this tube out of this one over here, if I can get it. Oh, I didn't undo the clamp. I didn't undo this clamp over here. That's why I'm having difficulties. SOB. Ah, there goes the socket. I have to go up and fetch it. Okay. It might get dark here for a second. Ugh. I'm getting tired of doing this on my back anymore. Ever since I screwed my back up. I tore 2 discs in my lower lumbar. And it hasn't been right since. Okay. Alright, we're almost out of time on this recording. I'm gonna have to stop here and then I'll have to splice it in. Okay, so I've already taken this pipe out, and this is one of the bulbs that what it looks like. You just pass CO2 through it without it, and it won't interfere with the intake charge. So don't worry about CO2 getting mixed in and killing the engine when you turn it on. It just passes liquid CO2 into it. As the air passes over it, it cools the air, kind of like how air flows over an intercooler, except you're using a really cold liquid and does the same effect. So I've also taken this low radiator hose that I made out, because I got to do one or two things to it. So, and then of course there's the turbo and the other piece I'm got to work with here. So that's pretty much what I got to do. So I'm gonna do that and then I'll be back. Alright, so I've made a little progress. What I've done is this pipe, or this setup I had here, I actually flipped it around so that this 90-degree coupler here was on the turbo outlet, but I flipped it around, and then I made this pipe, or I got this pipe and I made this flat so it conceals itself underneath the chassis, so it stays in there, but and flat, it hardly hangs out at all, which I'm very surprised. If it does hang out a little bit, it's okay. I'll probably end up making a shield for it at some point. So basically what I did is I took this tube, what used to be, where's the other section that I cut off? Never mind. So this used to be around this 3-inch aluminum. I cut it to length. I beaded it on the end to prevent the popping off under boost, and then I just took a couple of blocks of wood, this vise, and some, I want to say 4-foot leverage, and flattened it. So it doesn't do anything structurally to it besides just change the shape. I'm not going for high boost. I'm probably only going to put maybe 20 pounds through this, so it'll do fine. If I was going for a higher boost, I'd change the entire setup completely. So it's ovaled, and that's what it turned out as. And it couples right up, and the hose clamps the T-clamps will hold it pretty nice. So it turned out real well. The only thing I don't like is these fittings up in here. They kind of hang a little low, but I may end up probably just rotating those and getting them out of the way, which is perfectly fine, doable. And then I'll be in there a little bit flatter. So it turned out pretty good. So now it comes out of the turbo, which is up here, and then comes down into this hump hose coupler, which takes up this motion here, this back and forth, and it'll probably take some of the up and down. I am going to have to put something to protect this right here, which isn't going to be that bad, and then pretty much it's just in there. It fits good. It gives me my clearance for my lower radiator outlet, some good room. Takes it off the radiator, and it gives me my room back where the dump pipe is, which is nice. So I'm gonna keep on trucking, and I'll show more once I get more done. Alright, it's been a couple days later. It's Saturday the 21st. So I got the radiator in finally for the final time. I had to take it back out so I could put this radiator fan down in here. Of course, I put my light away. I got the throttle cable box all figured out and put away. This has cruise control, and I want to keep that. So what I did was I made a bracket and shifted the box over because it used to hit the manifold. So now that's all taken care of, and I had gotten another cable length so I can lengthen it from the throttle to this box, and then I soldered a brass barrel on the end of it, and it fits and works just fine. I am getting the the map all squared away. I got a bracket made for it and paint it, and I'm waiting for the paint to dry. Low radiator hose is in finally for the final time. I've got the downpipe back in with the O2 sensors in all the way. What else have I done? Pretty much I've taken care of what I can for now. I've got a few other things. It's getting late in this evening and I have a few other things I got to do. So this is all I've gotten done so far. I plan to have this running within the next week or two again. So for now, this is all I've gotten done. The two biggest things I got to tackle is the MSD box, which I'm probably going to move back over here because it worked. And the way I have it now, it's just not working. I think it has to do something with the wiring. Like the cage of the wires are way too small for how far away it is. So I'm just going to move it back in the engine bay where I had it, but I'm going to make it look nicer and neater. So that should about do it for now. So I've made a little progress. It's a couple weeks later. I've been off doing other things recently. Some BS stuff. So, well, I've relocated the MSD box like I said I was going to do down here. Get this strap out of the way. And then underneath that is the translator box, or the it's a translator. I had to reclock the turbo for the compressor housing because I found out recently the turbine housing, the inlet flange was not setting flush on the turbo manifold. So I clocked the turbine, I'm sorry. Where is my mind tonight? The compressor housing, because this wastegate crossover tube, because this used to have a divided turbine housing, but now it doesn't, was hitting the compressor wheel housing and preventing it from sitting flush. I think the reason why that is because the new turbine housing is a little shorter. It's not the same height as the old one, so it had interference. But just clocking the compressor housing took care of that. Right now I'm in the middle of doing wiring for this ignition box, and hopefully it still works. If not, this is really going to PO me, guys, because one or two of these parts I cannot get anymore. Specifically this this adapter, this coil adapter. Basically it prevents you from cutting into your main harness. Well, I got a trick to solve that. So I got the exact connector for the other end of this MSD box here. So here is the female end. They plug in together. One side I got a factory OE pigtail for the ignition coil. 97, 98 use flat terminals, whereas 95, 96 use round terminals on the ignition coil. And then this other end, I couldn't find the male end for this, so I just cut and snipped and made a connector here. If I can get better light here, I'm sorry. So that right there is the female side, and that comes off of the factory harness. So basically all this is going to do is, let me get some better light here so we can see what we're doing. So on this adapter, this male end plugs into there and the female end plugs in to the coil down here.
And then, of course, then the rest of it runs through the MSD box. So, the way I'm wiring this connector setup is basically, I'm just following the old instructions here. You can probably still find these online. So that is the part number. I'm just using the installation instruction here, if I can get this to focus. But it has a brown white wire, a brown green, brown orange, a green, red, and white. So basically, for this ignition box here, which is this connector is what comes off of translator, and then it goes into this connector, which interprets and all the rest of these wires, because some vehicles have a PNP or NPN coil, which is 3-wire, or some are just controlled off of a ignition control box or module. This one on Chrysler, most Chryslers have direct current grounding in the computer that triggers the coil, so you kind of have to finicky with it. You may be able to run it without this box, but just the ignition box, but not the translator box, because the translator's box you can no longer get. So, with the instructions on this MSD, I'm probably going to have to remake this MSD ignition install because I wasn't very clear the first time and I was in a hurry. So this is what it basically is from the computer to the coil. So what you do is you cut the wires and you run them. So on this one, there's 2 red wires, and then there's also 2 brown orange wires. For this coil, you truss the 2 brown orange wires together, and it goes to the coil positive, or power feed into the coil from the ESD relay. And then from there, come on, focus, damn it. There's 2 red wires. You twist those together, and that goes to the factory harness for the power feed in. So basically the 2 brown orange wires, when you twist them together, it provides power to the coil. And then trigger 1 will go to white wire, trigger 2 go to green wire, and then from the main harness. And then the trigger to the coil is going to be for channel 1, which is trigger 1, is going the same as trigger 1, is going to be the brown white wire. And then channel 2 or trigger 2 is going to be the brown green wire. And that's how you wire it into the MSD. And then of course you have all these other options. You must connect the large red and black wires to power and ground. And then you have an option here. Step retard is for timing retard. 2-step is a blue wire. It goes to 12 volts ignition source or switch, momentary switch. The pink wire is step retard. The brown is ignition interrupt, which is no spark output when grounded. So basically, you could hide a switch under the dash, turn it on, and the car wouldn't start if somebody tried to steal it. And then there's also a TAC output, which is that port. So this port here is TAC output. This blue wire is 2-step, and then these other 2 wires, this brown and pink, I am not using. So that is basically how you wire a 2-step or MSD DIS 2 Plus box for a 420A motor. So that's basically how this is done in this manual. This is page 10 of the installation book. So I'm using the DIS 2 Plus, which is the part number 62112. They may have a updated or different box number for it now, because they've gone MSD has gone through quite a few changes in the last 5 years that I know of. What else? What else? I may have to reroute this lower intercooler pipe, and I've got to reattach this support bracket down here, and I've start putting this turbo blanket on. But I've been waiting until I've got the MSD box and some other stuff, because I need to get in there with a pair of needle nose, which I forgot to bring home from work. So, I may or may not test fit this EGR setup. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to get the car to run, start and run, and then I'm going to worry about the EGR. Because everything else is pretty much in place except for what I'm screwing with right now. So that's where we are as of now. I'll have more information later. Until then, I'll see you next time. So, the last few notes for this video is that there's a couple spots I had to edit out some few things. One due to my phone going off, and of course you could clearly hear the ringtone, and YouTube will probably match it and do a copyright infringement, so that got edited out. During one of these events, one of my announcements is that I am still doing this giveaway. I am waiting for 15 more comments. You can either leave a comment on this video or the original giveaway video, and I'm going to go until there's 15 total more. So I already have one. I need 15 more, and then I'll send everything out. And don't worry, I'll get in contact with you and we'll talk about things. Where to send it. So, I know I've said I'll have it running in a couple weeks. Well, things in life just happen, and usually the car gets delayed. So it's not on my top priority list right now. Usually the winter season for when I'm at work is usually slower, so I start having to cut things out, and usually the Talon is one of the biggest things I cut out. Right now I have about everything just to get the Talon to run, and then I'm going to wait till probably midwinter or spring to register for new registration, since the registration expired roughly a year and a half ago. So as I'm sitting here editing this video, if there's something you want to see or something you don't understand, please feel free to interact with me. Leave a message, leave a like, or contact me on the Facebook page, and I'll make sure I put a link in the description below to where you can find that page. That's probably one of the better ways to get a hold of me. I do try to answer questions and comments on YouTube itself, but mainly a better way to get a hold of me is using the Facebook page. You can go over there, subscribe or follow it, and you'll see more up-to-date progress. A lot of the stuff that's too short for a video usually ends up as a small update with photos on the Facebook page. So that should about do it and wrap it up for this video. I'm still filming more, and hopefully I'll have more content in the next couple weeks. I've been trying to do more filming, but it's kind of difficult when money's tight and there really isn't much to film at this time. So that should about do it. Until next time.